Denis Vasilev. Today I also give you an overlook to main kettlebell sport exercises, to double long cycle, double jerk, double snatch. Just wants to share with you, my vision of how these exercises work together and what type of connections they have, and what which exercise is better to combine together and which better not. I'll start with a long cycle. And a long cycle is a self-sufficient exercise. It's pretty much don't need any other additional kettlebell sport exercise. Let me just remind you how it looks, just give you a couple of reps. Have a really long range of motion. That's why it's called a long cycle, because it's long, and the fact that it consists of a clean and jerk portion basically cover up all muscles on our body. We're doing a swing portion, that's our low back, our glutes, our hamstrings, torso muscles actually work a lot because we're holding a posture for arms. Obviously, that's the part of the movement where you cannot cheat the weight. If it's 32s, you will feel all these 32s here in your arms, and all the momentum. That's kind of a thing that helps you to at least have a bit better times and easier to clean them in the rack. But you're holding them in your hands, and that's a great general physical exercise, swinging the bells. So you're totally covering up, the strength component, doing clean portion. Well, and then again grip, right? So when we do swing, so we're holding bells in our hands, challenging hand muscles, forearm muscles. So this part is covered. And then when we do the jerk portion, so that's our quads, that's the double bells. Again, that's required quite a great strength of your legs, and then also the mobility situation. You feel like you need to have a flexible shoulders, a good rack position. So that's why I'm usually recommending, to people who are doing a first step in kettlebell sport, start with a long cycle. Again, because it has all of the phases you possibly need for kettlebell sport, but because it's such complex movement, it's quite slow pace-wise, long cycle. So that's why it's I think easier to process when you just study it. So it's fairly low reps a minute of these cleans and jerk together, so it's easier to think about it. And plus, because of a decent strength component, it's kind of 2-in-1. You're working on your technique, but you also even if you don't do any additional exercises, you're building up this needed type of strengths developing, which will be useful. Again, it's either will be your long cycle carrier, or later you'll also try some other exercises of kettlebell sport. So it's slow, and then because it's all of the phases together in long cycle, jerk and clean portion, there's a bit less value of each phase in particular. For instance, rack position. If you don't have a perfect rack position and you're doing long cycle, you still have chance to survive it and be able to accomplish your set because you have a clean portion, and that's where you can at least slightly reset your arms, your shoulders, and be able to keep going. So that's why long cycle, I think, good for start. And other exercises of kettlebell sport, such jerk and snatch, they might be useful for long cycle if you have already technique established. But if we're talking about the serious preparation, when you will get to the most challenging weight of bells in long cycle, you might feel a bit too much of a work if you would say, well, try to pairing long cycle and jerk. because it's both exercise required a double bell lifting, and after doing the full workout of long cycle, you just might be simply too tired doing jerk. However, of course, jerk is more precise exercise, and in general, skill of doing a jerk only will benefit your long cycle. So only the reason why I'm not recommending do long cycle and jerk together, just because of I think too much of a work together. And myself personally, I never pairing long cycle with any other exercise of kettlebell sport. If it's long cycle, it's going on its own. It's a self-efficient exercise, and it's all what you need. And being in a great shape in long cycle, you actually can just walk into snatch, and you will do quite well in it, because you have in a good shape your feel of the swing part, your grip is on place. So basically snatch is a tall clean. So if you have a good feel of cleans, let's see if it's a one arm clean. If you're not missing the hand insertion, if you have no troubles with it, if you are confident within the swing part, you know how to hold it, well then to adjust to snatch, you will just simply skip the rack position part and will snatch it all the way to the top. And if we're talking about advanced athletes who knew how to do all three exercises, and they just, let's say in their long cycle preparation, and they want to do some snatch set, that will work. What will not work is biathlon, based on long cycle preparation, because again, long cycle is a bit slower, a bit less precise. So if you're being in long cycle preparation will move to jerk, you most likely will not do well. You will get really pumping your shoulders. It just will be way too fast and not enough time to process all of the phases. But snatch will work. So again, if you're in long cycle, you better don't do anything else. And if you want to, you can just walk in and do your snatch set. It will most likely work. Now, let's talk about biathlon, which includes jerk and snatch. So let me do a couple of reps of the jerk. So we don't have here the swing portion. And what I just mentioned before, it's really important to have a perfect rack position and perfect toe fixation. So speaking about jerk, your experience and it can be either very pleasant if your technique is good, if your rack position and toe fixation is great, it will not feel heavy, because you basically, when you're doing jerk correctly, you'll never experience and never feel the full weight of kettlebells on your frame, only the very first clean. But then if elbow standing in the rack properly, so the weight going through your bones into the floor, so there is no muscles here. Then when you do the jerk portions, that's legs, when you bump it to the top. And then if your toe fixation is good, if your arms straight, again just weight going through your frame. So you never experience the full weight of bells really, because you don't have a clean portion. But if your technique is not on the level yet, and if you don't really have a good rest and relaxation in the rack, if your elbows intended to sleep over, you cannot reach the rack position, if you're holding them on your chest, that can be a really bad experience of the jerk. It will be not fun at all, because as far you go, as more fatigue you will feel in your shoulders, as worse will be your rack position, and actually that will affect the toe fixation also, just simply because of the tired and pump shoulder muscles. So that will not be great. So that's why, again, at the first steps in kettlebell sport, especially if the athlete have some issues with mobility, I do not recommend to start it with a jerk. Better to do long cycle and take your time and improve your mobility and skills before you will try a jerk. last exercise of kettlebell sport is a snatch. The snatch exercise have the minimal strength component, but it's a most skilled and endurance exercise. And that's why it's a good pair when you do jerk and snatch together. Because jerk have this strength component, think it's double bells, quads loaded, so you feel it on your chest anyways, right? These two bells, you feel it in your frame when it's a top fixation. So you're covering a strength part, but then what you're missing in jerk is the work of your glutes, of your hamstrings, of your lower back, because there is no swing portion, and also you will not challenge much your arms, right? Your forearms, your grip situation. But that's what snatch have, right? So it's not that heavy, but we have a swing portion, so wider range of motion, and you're doing grip work there. So that's why it's a best pair. They complete the needs of your body. Yeah, when you do only one of them, well, you jerk only, again, you will be missing the lower back muscles on your back work and the grip. If you will do snatch only, you will miss the strength component. So better do jerk and snatch together. That's how you will feel complete and will not need much other additional exercises. Your body will be quite happy and advanced if you do jerk and snatch together. When you in biathlon, when you jerk and snatch, there is no point for you to do a long cycle. Even if you want to compete in triathlon, basically what you should do is you should focus on jerk and snatch, and then just walking into a long cycle, and you most likely will do well, about 80-85% of your best, because when you jerk, obviously jerk portion is fine, and when you do snatch, your grip is good, your low back also will do well, because let's say it's only one kettlebell, but it's a very wide range of motion. So long cycle should work well. Maybe occasionally, if you're planning to compete in long cycle, you can maybe do double cleans or double long cycle maybe once a week, once in 2 weeks, and you will do all right. The last thing I haven't mentioned yet is this pairing of long cycle and snatch. And in general said that when it's a long cycle, you better don't do any other exercises. But I'm just will explain why, because one exercise benefits another. When you do long cycle, it's good for your snatch. When you do snatch, it's good for your long cycle. But if you do them both, at the beginning it might work when it's the beginning of your training cycle and the sets are not challenging and weight not as heavy yet. It's most likely will be okay. But if you will keep building up and exercise will get challenging, and you will really feel like you're making effort to complete your long cycle workouts and snatch, you might start run out of time for recovery for your forearms and for your hands and for your skin. You might start having blisters and start tearing your hands, because it's just too much of work for your hands total. If you'll do a full size long cycle preparation, let's say about 10 minutes of total swings, and then if you'll do another same amount of work for snatch, simply your hands might not handle it. So that's the reason why I'm not recommending really to program seriously long cycle and snatch together. And again, to finish what I wanted to say here, that you either go with long cycle only and don't do anything else, and you better don't go to biathlon competitions, but you can do snatch only, fine, based on long cycle experience. And if you do biathlon, so do double jerk, do snatch, don't do long cycle during that. And if you want to compete, you simply just walk into it and it will work fine. Thank you for watching.